podcast. I'm Cannon.
I'm Jackson.
And we have some exciting, a little sad news to talk about over the course of, this probably hour. We try to keep it at 45, but that doesn't happen.
Yeah, it's very hard. We can go on for days if we wanted to.
We can go for 2.5 hours, but that would take too long to upload on my computer.
Way too damn long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'll just say it is we could start with Dallas. You expect me to be sad, hopeless, and no, because I already said on the podcast this was gonna happen. It's like LeBron James and DeMar DeRozan. Aaron Rodgers has a spell on these Cowboys, and it doesn't matter what Cowboys it is. Aaron Rodgers beats them. So I'm not surprised one bit about the Packers winning. But what I am surprised about is my boy, Christian Watson, finally showing who he is. I've been trying to talk this guy up for 10 weeks, and he has not given me a lot to talk him up about. But I think you can see, obviously, the talent's there. I think he is the best wide receiver in this class, aside from maybe Jameson, who's on the Detroit, who hasn't played yet because he's been hurt. That guy's pretty special, too. And then you can talk about Olave, you can talk about Garrett Wilson, but I don't know. This dude, watching that game firsthand, this dude's a playmaker. Mm-hmm. I mean, he had, 4 or 5 catches, 3 touchdowns. Yeah. It's like that Randy Moss game.
He should have had 4, but yeah, go ahead.
Should have had 4. Why should he had 4? Tell me.
Didn't he drop that at the goal line? Not at the goal line.
He did have 1 drop.
Yeah, he dropped 1.
He could have had 4, but I had 3 in a drop. I'll take 3 touchdowns in a drop any day of the week.
Yeah.
I mean, I was happy when CD got that touchdown after that really bad drop. Mm-hmm. So I have mixed feelings about this game. Mm-hmm. And I'll let you talk in 1 second, but I have mixed feelings. I'm happy because I want Aaron Rodgers to break out of this funk he's having. I just hate how it had to be the Cowboys where he broke out of that funk.
Yep.
I was telling my boy Chris, I was like, this is the week.
Yeah.
This is the week he decides to show out. So I think this is good things for the Packers, and I know we said they were done, but do you think they have a chance to make a run?
I think that game saved their season for sure, and it's built a lot of confidence, within the team, especially for Christian Watson, which we definitely needed.
Oh yeah.
Or not we, but
they needed for sure.
Yeah, they needed his confidence, especially when Dobbs went out, with his ankle. So they need that other guy to really, get his mojo going, and that's what he got. He should have had 4 touchdowns, like we said, but. 3 touchdowns. Obviously, that's an amazing breakout game for him, and it was what he needed, is what the team needed. Aaron Rodgers is what he needed, and hopefully he can have a little bit more trust for him.
He should.
And they had the run game going, which we will talk about with Dallas. He had the run game going. Aaron Jones did some really, really good stuff out there. And, Green Bay is just what they needed to get their mojo going. Who do they have next? I'm not sure who they have next, but they gave them they gave themselves a real chance to make the playoffs. And so, and of course, whenever you have Aaron Rodgers in the playoffs, you have a chance to do something, right? So, Packers.
They play the Titans. That's a bit of a scary matchup.
That's a tough one to, that's a tough game for them. But I think they might have found a few things in this Dallas game that they can build on. Yeah. Right? So, yeah. But let's switch gears. Let's switch to the real team, though. What does it say about Dallas? Does it say anything about Dallas?
It doesn't say as much as you think it would say.
Okay.
This was... 2 things I can think of. Trap game. It's definitely a trap game because Green Bay was reeling. They looked the lowest of the low, and I think Dallas came out a little stagnant at first. Dak's crucial mistakes were in the beginning of the game. And what I'll say about this team is, if Dak's making those mistakes, they're not going to win a Super Bowl. It's obvious they won't win a Super Bowl, and they were not good interceptions. They were bad interceptions. I did not like those interceptions, and I was a little afraid of Dak even throwing the ball. But Dak made some really good throws at the end of the game. And actually, aside from those 2 interceptions, he made some good throws. Like, CeeDee Lamb showed out. Like, this is the game that, like, it's like CeeDee Lamb, touted as the number 1 receiver, number 2 receiver of that draft. Because people are going to go, oh, no, Justin Jefferson, are you dumb? It's like, no, nobody was saying Justin Jefferson was the number 1. People were saying CD was the number 1. This is the game that CD had to be able to show that he is that number 1 guy. And he could belong in that top 10 wide receiver category. It's like, right now he's like top 20 for me, maybe top 15. Dude has talent. It's just like, he needs more games like this for me to be like, oh yeah, this dude's top 10.
Yeah. No, he's a baller for sure. He's a gamer. So let me change the question this way. Is there any concern about the defense?
No. Like with Christian Watson, like that dude is a game changer, and then Aaron Jones had it. I think the defense had an off day. I can't say the defense is bad because of one bad game.
But here's the thing. Against the run, you guys have struggled. So I think that's the thing. That's something that the Dallas Cowboys need to address. Like if they really want a chance at the Super Bowl, I think they're going to have to make some adjustments when it comes to that. So
yeah, I'd have to see their rushing totals. Yeah. I'll look that up while you're talking because they weren't good with quarterbacks, but they've been pretty good with stopping running backs. So I feel like this was just an off day. And, when you have the threat of Christian Watson and then Aaron Rodgers who can throw it anywhere, I think that might have had something to do with it.
But the problem is, it's like, okay, whether we want to get into details of who's running the ball, whether it's a quarterback or running back, you got 2 quarterbacks in your division that can run. We have Daniel Jones and we have Jalen Hurts with Saquon Barkley. Daniel Jones with Saquon Barkley and Jalen Hurts coupled with Miles Sanders. So we know those 2 can have an effective running game. And so I think that is a concern for Dallas going, further into the season. So, which, I'll say my piece about it. I think it is concerning for Dallas. I think you guys really should have those questions because at the end of the day, I believe if you are the Super Bowl contender, I mean, I can't say there's no such thing as a trap game, but you have to exploit the issues that the Packers are going through, right? You have to continue to expand on it. This is a game they had to win. They were up 28-14, and honestly, I'm gonna be honest with you. I thought they had the game once the Green Bay Packers fumbled it on that punt, and the fact that they were up by 14 points in the fourth quarter, you have to, in your Super Bowl caliber team, you have to close them out, right? I just think that's a huge concern for them. It is a concern. It's a definite concern, and like honestly, it's telling. If you're not having some type of PTSD from years past, I don't know what to tell you because at the end of the day, that seemed like same old Cowboys who can have good wins here and there, but then actually, I'm taking the hater cap off. Trust me, I'm taking the hater cap off. But the Rams win doesn't look as good anymore. Who else did they beat? That was we thought Cincinnati's okay.
I mean they did Cincy still had their players. It's like they still have the Jamar Chases and stuff, and the defense still was able to. No, I agree. I agree with you. It is concerning, but. We talk about same old Cowboys, like how they screw games up. Yeah. This was really, truly the only game that they screwed up this whole season. And it's like, and you could say what you want is like, oh yeah, Dallas screwed this game up, same old Dallas. But, I mean, what teams haven't screwed a game up? The only 2 teams I can think of right now, the Chiefs screwed that Colts game up. Yeah. The Bills screwed 3 straight games up. The only teams I can think of that haven't screwed a game up are the Eagles, obviously, because they're undefeated, and then the Vikings, because the Vikings' only loss was against the Eagles.
But the difference is, the Bills the only reason why they probably didn't even make they made the AFC Championship game prior, and the only reason why they didn't make the AFC Championship game is because Patrick Mahomes happened. So these are in Chiefs. They won a Super Bowl. They've been to a Super Bowl. These are proven teams these are teams who've shown that they can show great success in the playoffs. So it's like there's not that much concern. Like I understand everybody makes has bad games or whatever, and they screw games over and all that stuff. I totally get it. But my thing is with the Cowboys, this seems like a trend with their franchise, and that's why whenever they do have good wins, I'll say let's wait and see. Let's just wait and see, and let's see if they can win the games that we expect them to win. Let's see if they can actually get past the divisional round. Like me personally, like I'm just at that point with the Dallas Cowboys because it's been like this for the last 10, since the Tony Romo years. Like they'll do really well in the regular season. They'll win some good games here and there, but they can't pass the divisional round. So that's why when I talk about the Cowboys in the Super Bowl, I think it's really funny. Like this seems like a repeated cycle with them, and I personally think I'd be doing you guys a favor when I tell you guys y'all should probably calm down and just don't even mention the Super Bowl because this is just a constant cycle with them that it seems like they can't get over the hump. I mean, obviously, the year's not over for them. They're more than likely going to make the playoffs, and anything can happen. But it just seems like the same old Cowboys to me. It just really does.
Yeah, I don't like to put. I don't like to put too much in trends.
Yeah.
Just because every season is different. It just happens that the Cowboys are going through a really bad rut where they can't close games out. Mm-hmm. It's different coaching regimes. It's different defensive coordinators. It's different players. That's why just say they screw the Vikings game up,
mm-hmm.
then I'm going to be more concerned.
Yeah.
Just say they screw up another game, like if they had another game where they should have won it but they lost,
mm-hmm.
then I would be more concerned. But this is the first game where they did, the trend that we're talking about, and it's been 10 weeks.
And they did it against a team who's been bad past 5 weeks.
They've been bad, but they've been bad because of things we were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
Is Rodgers not trusting receivers, Rodgers throwing too many 4-yard passes, not just airing it out. What happens when Rodgers airs it out? His team's pretty dang good.
But why against the Cowboys? Like, just what you think it's just because he has their number? I mean, like
they had a completely different game plan
mm-hmm.
that game than they've had the whole season.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, against your Giants,
mm-hmm.
it was 4-yard pass after 4-yard pass.
Yeah.
It was the most boring. Like the Packers were exciting. They had life to them.
Mm-hmm.
Rodgers had life to him. I think this could have happened against anybody.
Mm-hmm.
Because, it's like you could say Dallas' defense, they definitely underperformed that game, but even them underperforming is still top half of the league.
Yeah.
But,
they gave up 30, was it 31?
Yeah, but that was OT, too. You got to think about that. It was 28.
Well, 3 points in OT. Okay. Well, okay, 28. That's 4 touchdowns against a team that was struggling offensively. Struggling. I understand what you're saying about the game plan and this, that, and the other, but it happened, and I think that is a concern. Dallas Cowboys, they gotta go back to the drawing board, and
I don't think it's time to tear it down. I mean, I know what you're saying about the defense. Yeah. I understand it. It is concerning looking at it, but I'm thinking of teams it's like, sure, Detroit isn't the greatest team, but they did have a top 5 offense.
They did.
And Dallas was able to stop it.
Mm-hmm.
The Bears, I mean, look at what Justin Fields is doing
mm-hmm.
to other teams now. They didn't contain Justin Fields, totally, but Justin Fields didn't have 160 yards rushing.
I totally get it, but sorry to cut you off, but what I'm saying, my main concern is this: if Green Bay has been playing like this all year, with their offense, hitting on all cylinders, scoring 28, 30 points and all that stuff, I wouldn't be saying this. It's just a simple fact that Green Bay for 5 weeks has been looking bad.
But what's the difference?
With Christian Watson?
I think.
Okay, but
I think that's the difference.
Okay, but I mean, I think that has something to say about Dallas Cowboys and their game plan as well. You know, both can be true. What you're saying is true, and the Dallas Cowboys, what they didn't do, both can be true. You know?
Well, yeah, and that's tough. It's really hard to predict. You know, they're not game planning for Christian Watson, right? It's like that emergence, almost nobody could have predicted. I mean, I was saying I think he's their best wide receiver.
Yeah. No, he's their most talented.
Yeah, most talented for sure. Like, he hasn't shown it, so obviously he wasn't on Dallas's game plan, and that's a really hard adjustment to make, right? And most of his touchdowns happen after the half. So halftime adjustments wouldn't have worked. I think it was more of a freak thing. Is like they didn't realize how good Christian Watson was, and they didn't realize he was going to blow up the way he did.
Okay, but that's a hit on the head coaching. Like, I understand Christian Watson hasn't done, you know, what people expected him to do, or some people expected him to do him at the beginning of the year, but you have to understand Dobbs is out, right? So, I mean, Christian Watson, you know, he's probably playing that week, possibly. I don't really know 100% know the situation, but you know who they have on the field. And so, at the end of the day, I just feel like that's a big question mark for Dallas. Like I said, in the running game, has a lot of teams had success against them. So I think that's something that they have to figure out going into the playoffs. And yeah, I think it's just some concerns there. You know, whether you want to put the game plan, this or that and the other, I think there's a concern because this is an offense that was struggling. Like, not even being mediocre. Like, this offense was bad. Like, they were legit bad. And for them to come out and do what they did and coming from behind and doing it, it was the way they lost. It was the way they lost.
I think, and like I'm saying, I'm thinking objectively. I'm not thinking as a Cowboy fan right now. Like,
no,
am I worried about the Bills because of, you know, last week where Josh Allen threw his picks and, you know, the Jets won? I'm like, no, you know, it's just a game that happens. It's just sometimes you have a game. I mean, it's like upsets. Upsets happen all the time. And then especially with, I mean, that was vintage Aaron Rodgers. That's like top 3, top 4 quarterback Aaron Rodgers, the way he was playing. I mean, I believe if the Packers were playing like this, like the last 3 weeks, the game plan would have been more geared towards stopping Aaron Rodgers. I believe that the game plan was more focused on limiting the short passes, which caused Christian Watson to, you know, blow up. So I'll say that. I guess here's how worried I am. Is I had them at what, 4?
Last week, I think so. Yeah.
I'd have them at 5 or 6 right now.
Okay.
So I'm having them going down a little bit. You can't go. You have to go down if you have a loss like that.
How do you feel about Dak?
Dak, I feel good about Dak because those interceptions were stupid, but at the end of the game, he did not make many mistakes. It was just like he was playing to the game and he was playing smart after those dumb interceptions.
They went scoreless in that fourth quarter.
They did go scoreless. It was like they had 14 in the second, 14 in the third. Now, I will say, though, this, like, same old Dallas you want to talk about is, I don't know why you went for it on that 4th down. That was the dumbest. Like, aside from Green Bay not running the ball on that 3rd down or 4th down that they had at the beginning, I mean, in the 4th quarter, that was the dumbest play of the game. How are you going to go for it on 4th down like that? Be safe. Like, you could either not even be safe. That was in Brett Maher's range, I believe. Like, Brett Maher can hit 60-yarders. Now, granted, you don't want to give them that, but I honestly would have punted it and let the defense. Because giving Rodgers 50 yards or giving him 90 yards, giving him 80 yards, I'd rather just play the numbers game and be like, hopefully we can get it back.
Go ahead, finish your thought.
It's just a 4th and 4. If it was a 4th and 1, yeah, because you have more options to do with that. But Green Bay knew you had to pass it.
Yeah.
And obviously that play was not their ace in the hole play because nobody was open. And no, I wouldn't have gone. I believe Dallas would have had a better chance that they punted that one.
And I do disagree with the. It's like I see what you're saying. The 4th and 4, but at the end of the day, knowing that Aaron Rodgers was hitting on all cylinders, and Christian Watson breaking out and all that stuff, I can see
you don't
why,
want him to get the ball back.
You don't want. I can see why he went for it. So that's where I don't give him too much criticism. My criticism would be is if you were in that mind state that you were going for it on 4th down, you probably should have ran it on 3rd down, made it 4th and 2 or whatever like that, and then do what you needed to do on 4th down. That's my only critique on that.
Because Pollard, you talk about Aaron Jones.
Yeah.
I mean, Tony Pollard, for all intents and purposes, he had a better game than Aaron Jones.
He did.
I mean, I'll pull up the stats right now, but it's like, I'll just... While I'm pulling this up, I just want to say, Pollard needs to be the lead guy.
Yeah.
Pollard,
100%.
Pollard showed that he can be the lead guy. I mean, 22 carries, 115 yards.
Yeah.
I mean, no, Aaron Jones had 24, 138. That's better, obviously.
And that's the thing and that's the thing, and that's another thing we should talk about. That's coaching. If my memory serves me correct, it was 3rd and 4, right? And they passed it, right? This dude Pollard is having a good game.
Yeah.
Why aren't you running it on 3rd down? And I think that's one of the big things that we're probably missing in all this. We got to talk about coaching and decision making. And that's another huge concern with the Dallas Cowboys. It's 3rd and 4.
McCarthy is the player. I mean, I don't like McCarthy.
Mm-hmm.
I can say that. I think the best thing that they did for that was getting the defensive coordinator. Quinn, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
That dude is great, and he's a great defensive coordinator. I think if Dallas underperforms, they need to fire McCarthy and just throw their chips on the table and get Sean Payton.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone knows Sean Payton wants to go to Dallas.
Mm-hmm.
Fire McCarthy, get Sean Payton in there. Like Sean Payton and Quinn, Dan Quinn.
I wouldn't be happy. I tell you that.
Get out of here. Like, we're talking about Dak right now. That would unleash...
Do you think that would be a struggle between Sean Payton and Jerry Jones? Because I think Sean Payton wants... Didn't he have a lot of huge decision-making and, like, executive decision-making within the New Orleans Saints?
Well, I think Jerry... Granted, this is big. I think Sean Payton is like... if you're talking about coaching, he's like a god.
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's a coaching god. And I think they would relinquish more for... Sean Payton than they would for Mike McCarthy.
So was Jimmy Johnson. I know it was 25 years ago, but...
Jimmy was different, though.
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy was a great leader. He wasn't the X's and O's guy. He wasn't a defensive guy.
Mm-hmm.
He was the guy that got stuff done.
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't the guy calling the plays and stuff. Sean Payton, everyone knows his track record. He's an offensive genius. Look at how the Saints have looked without him.
But I'm looking along the lines of like maybe a power struggle.
Yeah. I mean, there could be, but... I'd try. I mean, if you tell me I have a chance to get Sean Payton, and it's like Sean Payton wants to go to Dallas.
Yeah.
Like, he wants to go there. There was going to be a trade to get Sean Payton to Dallas the year AD went to the Lakers, but they shut it down because they couldn't lose two high-profile people from the same city in the same month.
Yeah.
So, in essence, the Lakers, the team I love, cost the Cowboys, the other team I love, Sean Payton. But if the trade was about to happen there, I think there were probably talks between Jerry and Sean Payton. Illegal talks. That it's like, we can make it work.
Yeah.
I mean, you can make it work.
Yeah.
So that's what I'm hoping happens. It's like almost like I kind of want them to underperform so he does get fired. In a messed up way. Because I feel like Sean Payton, that dude, now, no disrespect to Drew Brees, but he's making Drew Brees look like a top 5 quarterback of all time when he was playing, when in reality Drew Brees is not that guy. Drew Brees is around that 10 to 15, but he's not top 5.
No, he's not top 5. No.
I mean, he was making Drew Brees, who could barely throw the ball 20 yards, look like an MVP candidate.
I mean, well, he was good with the Chargers, though. He had a year or two.
He was good, but was he top 10?
Yeah, no, but I mean, we can go back and forth about that all day, but I think Tom Brady wouldn't be who he would be without some coaching.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, but anyway, we don't want to get too far off topic. But do you have any final thoughts about the Cowboys in that game, Green Bay, or
it minimally makes me concerned. Like I said, I'll tell you the teams I'm going to have ahead of them now is like I had the Niners behind them. I'm going to have the Niners ahead of them. And the next thing I want to talk about is the Vikings. I'll say it here, is they got that prove-it win to me.
Yeah.
Granted, it was a bit lucky because should Josh Allen have fumbled there? No, but I am a proponent of one play can make a difference in a game, but it doesn't say what team is.
Yeah.
It doesn't. It's like a penalty. It's like if there's one penalty that drastically screws the game up, should have been up by more.
Yeah.
Bills should have been up by more. The Vikings are my number 5 right now.
Okay.
Over Dallas. And it's because they finally got that win. I know they were 7-1. They were looking good. But, I mean, the Steelers had where they were 11-0. And that team was not good.
Yeah.
They were just winning a bunch of games. That it just, sometimes it happens. You get favorable schedules, you get favorable game scripts, and you win. But Justin Jefferson, oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God. I was wrong about the Vikings, and I was wrong about my wide receiver rankings at the same game.
Yeah.
He's my number 1. And that's what I was saying in the beginning of the year with Jackson is I think Justin Jefferson's the best wide receiver in the league. I mean, those catches, ridiculous. And I know you said he's not the biggest guy, but for wide receiver standards, he's above average.
Yeah. I mean,
he's above average. He has great hands, one-handed catches, and you can't cover this dude. Everyone in the world knew they were going to throw it to Justin Jefferson. Adam Thielen's not having a great year. TJ Hawkinson, he's great. Don't get me wrong, I love TJ Hawkinson. But people know who they're really trying to throw it to. He's double covered, and he's still making the most amazing catches I've seen.
Yeah.
Like, all year. I understand that Tyreek has his yards. Yeah. I get that. I get it. But it just, the eyeball test for me, it's like Tyreek, burner, speed, burner. You know, it's like, I get it. He's open because he's so fast. But when Jefferson makes a catch, I'm at the edge of my seat like, holy crap. I can't believe what this dude is doing. It's like transcending like what I would think a wide receiver is. It's like, I feel like the last wide receiver where I'm like, oh my God, is like, I mean, you could probably name one before this guy, but I'm thinking like Julio.
Yeah.
You know, like when Julio was getting 300 yards and no touchdowns, like in a game, I'm like, this dude's different.
Yeah. And
that's how I feel about Jefferson. I feel the same way about Chase, but I don't know. Justin Jefferson, for my money, he's got it all.
No, he's great. He's great. But, you know, to go back to your original point about the Vikings, you know, they definitely, even though, like you said, they had a little luck, but sometimes that's what it takes. It takes a little bit of luck.
To get your confidence up.
Yeah, you need a little bit of luck throughout the league, you know. So, you know, not that you were, but, like, I'm not going to knock them.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt. But, like, I was never saying they're bad.
No. I got it. I know, you know. I know. I got you. But, like, I would put them ahead. I mean, we won't officially know until after, you know, this coming up week 11, but I would put them ahead of the Cowboys right now because I don't think the Cowboys have a win quite like that against that caliber team.
No, they don't.
Because the Bills, they are considered they were Super Bowl favorites coming into the season.
Yeah.
And I believe they were, right? Yeah. It was the Bills.
Oh, they were 100%
they were the favorites. And the fact that they went into Buffalo in the cold, not in no dome, and getting that win, regardless how it came, it said a lot about them. You know, it said a lot about their, you know, willpower. You know, despite them being down by 17 points or however many points it was, they still stuck to what they do, and they went to their guns, man. And that's another thing. I really believe in teams who give it to their playmakers when it's really needed, right? And that's why when it was really needed at the end of the day, he went to Justin Jefferson.
Like there's 4 times in a row. It was nuts.
And sorry to say this, like I hate to like harp on the Cowboys like this, but this goes back to what I was saying. 3rd and 4, Pollard's one of your better players on offense, right?
They did try to throw it to Pollard, but it was like
was it? Yeah.
Well, 3rd and 4, no, they didn't try. They threw it to Pollard on 4th and 4 in the desperation.
But give it to him
And
they should have given it to him in third down, like in the way that he normally gets the ball and running the ball.
They have too much ego.
Yeah. So
that's a problem.
Yeah,
is they want to be right about Zeke. Mm-hmm. Now, you know what? We talked enough about them.
Yeah,
I guess
I want to peel it back to.
Let's go to the Vikings. Let's talk good things about them.
Yeah, we'll peel back to the Vikings. You know, and that's why I do trust them. Like going forward, is because they understand. Like when the game's on the line, you go to your. Sometimes it's not even about X's and O's. Sometimes it's about just put it in the area to my number one guy, and let's make him make a play. That's what it's about, and it seems like they understand that. And when the game was on the line, they did that yesterday.
I just, it's, and then going at it, like, not too many teams have a player as special as that, man. Yeah. It's a lot easier to feel confident when you have him, or Jamar, or Tyreek, or even Devontae Adams, and those type of players. It's like, granted, I wish CD was that guy, but I think he's emerging.
Yeah, he could be.
He could be. Maybe at the end of the season, maybe next season.
Because we've seen videos of making him crazy catches. For sure. He could be. He could be.
Those names will be forever linked because they were both in the same draft class. Not as bad as Rager. Jalen Rager and Jefferson.
So, any final thoughts on the Vikings? Because there's another team I want to chime in on.
I guess the last thing I'm going to say is... I'm not going to say they proved me wrong because, I did kind of say that. But what I'm saying is I just wanted to see them get that win before I put them in there. They needed that marquee win because they haven't had one the entire season. The only experience I had with them beating a Super Bowl contender, not beating, like playing a Super Bowl contender, was when they lost to the Eagles and they got dominated the entire day.
Gotcha.
That's why I was like, I don't know about them. I just don't know. But I feel a lot better.
And here's the thing. That was in September, correct? I said, September football, I don't buy into September football. I don't.
Wasn't that like week 4, though?
I think that was like week 3.
I have to check because
but September football, early October, in that window. To me, like you see a lot of teams like thriving. Like Detroit looked like solid for a second. I know they still won, but they looked like people were really
their offense.
Yeah, like Jacksonville, and there's a few other teams that people really hype up. It's that way every single year, and then they tend to peter out, right? And then you have some teams who struggle in the beginning, and then all of a sudden towards the end they begin to rise, which leads me to the team I wanted to talk about, Tampa Bay. How are you feeling about Tampa Bay? That is a quality win.
It's against the Seattle?
Yeah, that's a quality win. Are you a believer? Do you think they can come back and be a Super Bowl contender?
I'm not going to say Super Bowl yet.
Okay.
Seahawks did not play a good game. Kenneth Walker had his worst rushing performance. And I know it was like we were saying, prove it game for Kenneth, see if he's that top 2, top 3. But I will say, when Kenneth couldn't get it going on the ground, the man caught the ball. 55 yards, 55-yard reception. It's like, now we see he has that skill in his game. But I don't want to talk too much about Kenneth because I talk about him too much. It's a good quality win. I don't know how much Germany had an effect on them. But
they both were in Germany.
They were both in Germany, but I feel like the Tom Bradys of the world aren't going to get frazzled from flying across the country.
Good point.
Which is, advantage. Tampa Bay is like, Tom Brady's good in the moment. He can win the close games. He can win the pressure pack games. I'll say, they're obviously going to make the playoffs. They got a puncher's chance. I'm not going to give them Super Bowl contender.
I understand.
They got a puncher's chance though. But the thing that makes me go is Seattle almost won that game at the end. They almost Seattle scored those points quick. They almost came back and won that game. And it's like Tampa Bay floundered out at the end. But Tampa Bay has a couple pieces I'm very interested in. I forget the running back's name. But their rookie running back out-carried Leonard Fournette and out-rushed him. He looks pretty good. Now they got a tandem. Godwin finally got a touchdown.
Yeah.
Godwin's getting healthier.
Yeah.
I mean, Mike Evans fell off a little bit. He's not looking like Mike Evans.
They've had a lot of drops.
I mean, am I going to give them more of a chance to win the Super Bowl than Dallas?
Yeah.
Than the Vikings? No, because I feel like they're all around the same area.
Yeah.
And the only reason I say they're all around the same area is because Tom Brady.
Yeah.
If it wasn't Tom Brady, if it was some other quarterback, even with the same amount of Madden attributes, you know, I would be saying, nah, they're lesser. But it's like, it's Tom Brady, and you don't count him out. Like how you don't count Aaron Rodgers out, you don't count Tom Brady out. So, I'll put them in that. I think they're either in that high tier 3 or that low tier 2.
Yeah.
But that's higher than the low tier 3, the high tier 4 I would have had them at 2 weeks ago. We just have to see. I want to see a game outside of Germany because you know how those international games are. They get wonky. Like weird stuff happens.
Yeah.
Like
and
weird.
And no, like it's good, and I'm not gonna put them in the Super Bowl category per se yet, but it's scary. It's scary for the rest of the NFC because here's the thing: if you can win ugly, that's big, because like you said, Godwin's getting healthy. I believe Mike Evans has proven to me that he's possibly, obviously at this rate, he could be a Hall of Fame.
No,
or we could say he is, or we could say he is Hall of Fame. So once he gets his mojo back, you got Godwin coming back. We got this rookie that's emerging, right? So now they'll be able to possibly score more points, have a more cleaner game, and that spells trouble for everybody else because then now they can win two ways. They can win by scoring a lot of points. They can also win by not scoring a lot of points and winning ugly. And we know in the NFL, in the playoffs, games get a lot more dirtier, a lot more ugly, a lot more gritty, and they can do both, right?
Which is what worries me about the Bucs, though, is when Brady gets hit, he goes from like that top 10 quarterback to like a 20 because, I mean, he's 45.
Yeah.
I mean, that's scary. He gets frazzled really quickly, and he gets very antsy when he has any pressure near him. So I think when we get to that playoff football where you got the Eagles front, where you have those dominant defenses, it's gonna mess with them.
Yeah. And sorry to cut you off, and that's not to say like I got the Eagles if they were in the playoffs, depending on how they look and how they if they continue to win, which I anticipate they will, depending on how they look, I still have the Eagles to beat them if they were to meet in the playoffs, based on how they look right now at least. And I still have San Francisco better than them. But all I'm trying to argue is they're a tough out, and they're like you were saying they do have a puncher's chance.
You don't want to play Tampa Bay in the playoffs.
Yeah,
I'd rather play the Vikings than Tampa Bay in the playoffs.
Yeah.
I'd rather play Dallas than Tampa Bay in the playoffs. I'm not saying as a Cowboy fan. I'm not saying Cowboys playing. I'm saying if I was a team, I'd rather play Minnesota, or I would rather play Dallas than Tampa Bay, even if they are better teams, because it's a lot scarier when you have that experience.
Yeah.
I did want to, go off and talk about the Bills for a minute.
Yeah.
I think the Bills are being exposed. The offense is too predictable. Patrick Peterson knew exactly what Josh Allen wanted to do 2 times.
Yeah.
And Patrick Peterson is not Patrick Peterson from 10 years ago. And the Jets did it. The Bills are becoming predictable, and I think that's finally showing is like, sure, their current coach, he had good plays. Bills looked dominant. But I think that was the beauty of Dayball is Dayball could change.
Yeah.
Is that I don't think this coach has the experience of changing. So, I don't think what's happening to the Bills is a fluke. I think they need to kind of reinvent themselves. Like you're talking about with Dallas, is the Bills concern me a little more than Dallas, actually. It's kind of crazy. Not because I think they're worse than Dallas right now. I think they're better than Dallas still. But they are the Super Bowl favorites, and they're losing to Minnesota. They're losing to the Jets. Josh Allen's thrown like 6 or 7 interceptions in the last 3 games. The Bills' offense is getting figured out, and I'm not saying this is Josh Allen's fault. he could say he's playing like crap all he wants. The fault is the offense is predictable, and he is responsible for everything on that team. There is so much on his shoulders, which is why I say don't look at stats. Don't look at interceptions. Josh Allen's doing a lot more for you than Teddy Bridgewater did for the Broncos.
Yeah.
But when you're all they got, it's easier to game plan for. It's like, and like I was saying, Diggs, top 6, top 5 wide receiver. Easy. Gabe Davis, he's a tier 3 to me. Isaiah McKenzie, he's like your 4th or 5th option.
I feel like Knox should be more productive than what he is.
Yeah.
I feel like he should be.
Like, Knox is that, he has all the talent, he just hasn't put it together yet. Or maybe Josh Allen just doesn't throw at the tight ends. I mean, it's like Rodgers is, one of the greats we've ever seen. He doesn't really throw at the tight end that much either. Like, I mean, like, the only one I can think of who's been productive is, like, in the last couple of years is Jared Cook.
Yeah.
So I am very worried about the Bills because they're being exposed offensively. Patrick Peterson should not be able to pick Josh Allen up twice. It shouldn't happen. He's not the player he was. So I'm going to save my comments until next week. Well, until this game that's about to happen next week. To see if they can make those adjustments. Because, after one loss, you're like, whatever, it's one loss.
Yeah.
But after 2, you're like, oh, man, what the heck happened?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
They're sliding down a little bit in my power rankings a little bit. I probably put them at 3. Maybe I had them at 3. I don't think I had them at 3. I think I had Eagles at 3. So it'd be Chiefs, Eagles, Bills. And if the Bills lose again, I'm going to have to put them under... like, the Niners. And, heck, I probably would have put the Niners above them. But the problem is the Niners didn't really show me that much.
Yeah.
They did not show me that much.
Well, Chargers respect. You get Chargers a little bit more respect.
Wait, anything more about the Bills before we...
Well, the Bills, the only reason why I do have concern with them is that they're going to have to go through Kansas City. If they were playing against Miami, who else is in the AFC? We got Cincinnati.
I can tell you a couple teams I think could beat the Bills in the playoffs right now. The Titans.
They're a threat.
I think currently, with how good that Titans defense looks, the Titans could beat the Bills right now.
They could, but I wouldn't pick them to beat the Bills.
No.
Because they have, Josh Allen, the best player on the field.
I guess if I had to, sorry to interrupt. Like if I had a, I wouldn't call it coin flip, but I call it 45-55. I just think the Titans are that good.
Okay. But my major, they could. These teams could, but if it came down to me picking somebody, the only team that I would pick over the Bills to beat them in the AFC playoffs is the Kansas City Chiefs, and that's the reason why I have concerns on them. And it seems like there's a trend here with them. Big play receivers destroy them. How did they lose to Kansas City in the playoffs last year? Tyreek Hill, he got the 60-yard touchdown.
I'll clap back on that, though, is the defense is a lot different now than it was that year.
But what happened yet? Why did they lose yesterday? Justin Jefferson. He was magic yesterday. So it seems like when it comes to these, I mean, I understand you can say big play receivers beats anybody, but it just seems like that's their kryptonite. That's like really the thing that is holding them back from getting to where they need to be. Because if the defense were able to hold Tyreek and Travis Kelce, because that was putrid. The way that they ended it, I mean, a lot of people complain about, the overtime and all this other stuff. Like, I hear them, but at the same time, you can't give up a 60-yard touchdown the way that they did, when the game's on the line. You can't give up 45 yards in 13 seconds or however many yards it is. That's on the secondary.
And like I said, one event doesn't change a game. Sure, it might change the win or loss, but the Bills lost that game because they lost that game. I don't want to hear about the overtime rules.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. So that's my main concern is that they have Kansas City, in front of them. Now, they don't have Tyreek Hill anymore, but Juju ain't no slouch. Obviously, they still have Travis Kelce.
I like their talent more now than when they had Tyreek.
I feel like they're more complete
they
were more explosive with Tyreek, but they're more complete.
They were too Tyreek reliant.
They're too Tyreek reliant. And obviously, Patrick Mahomes is not going anywhere. They have an issue. I mean, obviously, everybody has an issue with big play, offenses and things of that nature. But that's the thing that's in their way. Like I understand Josh Allen. Like he might have some interceptions here and there, but at the end of the day, Josh Allen, it will be their best shot in winning the championship because they're going to have to face Kansas City, and I anticipate Kansas City will put up big numbers against them. So, but they have to clear that up. Like overall, they're a good defense. They do very, very well. But when it comes to these explosive defenses, they seem bad. They seem terrible.
Yeah, I do want to say, like, I want to give credit to Justin Jefferson because we saw those highlights. There was a Bills player in his hip pocket for most of his catches. So it's like, it's not necessarily the Bills defense that sucked. It was that Justin Jefferson is just better.
Yeah. I hear you.
Because like, that one-handed catch he made, man, that could have been an interception if Justin Jefferson didn't get his hand up. It's like, that's what doesn't concern me is because the players are in the right position to impact the game. It's like, sometimes players just make a play. And
and I don't disagree with you per se, but if last year, if that didn't happen the way that it happened, then I wouldn't be saying this. And I'm just saying it just seems like it's a trend. Because who'd they lose to the year prior? Before last year?
I can't remember.
Kansas City, AFC Championship game, right? I'm not sure what the score was. I think they got blown out that game. So it seems like a trend to me. They have an issue with. It seems like their defense and a high-powered offense going against a high-powered offense. They're not good enough. I don't say they're not good enough. It's their kryptonite. We see a lot of teams. We saw what Tampa Bay did to Kansas City in the Super Bowl. Granted, they had some injuries, right?
Their O-line was in shambles.
Granted, there's that. But we've seen, if you're that defense, I'm trying to say, is you don't get completely blown out of the freaking water the way that they have. If you're truly that defense, you're at least going to put up some type of incredible fight. You're not going to let them run 35 points on you.
No, I got you. I'll say though is that that Bills defense was statistically good last year, but it was not a good defense. Like I believe that defense was actually one of the lesser defenses in the league, probably like bottom 15.
So okay, but now, you think it's different now?
Now they're top 5. They're at worst 6 or 7. Is this defense is good. It's a really good defense. And I think Von Miller really made that difference. And then I can't remember his name. He was drafted like 4 years ago. Ed Oliver? Is it Ed Oliver?
I think you talking about the defensive lineman from Clemson. Is it from Clemson? No,
I don't know if he's from Clemson.
I can't remember where he's from, but I know you're talking. He's a defensive lineman,
Yeah, he's emerged as a superstar too. So what I'm saying is, I'm not going to say it's a bad defensive possession if you're in Justin Jefferson's hip pocket and he makes that catch.
No, I understand that. If you're talking about that one play, I got you.
Because even like the other plays he had though, like he caught the ball, he got crushed instantly. They're in the area. They're in the area, which is why I'm not too worried about the big play. And I think the Bills have a good chance against Kansas City's wide receivers because none of them are Justin Jefferson.
No.
Like, I mean, I don't see Juju. If just say Juju was the one who got that ball thrown to him, that would have been intercepted. So,
I mean, here's the thing. Like, obviously, I'll give them a chance to beat Kansas City, but it's a concern.
Coin flip.
It could be a coin flip for sure. But it just, like I said, I'm all about trends. Trends matter. We in business, trends matter, right? The reason why things are the way they are right now is because of trends, right? And if I'm constantly seeing the same thing over and over again, I have to eventually believe it. Like, yeah, Josh Allen had a couple bad games or whatever, but I don't think he will be the reason they lose.
No,
I don't.
He'll never be the reason he loses. I don't care if he throws 2 interceptions.
They lose.
He's not the reason that team loses. He's the reason that team wins.
Yeah.
Without Josh Allen, that team would be... Josh Allen adds 6 or 7 or 8 wins to that team.
Yeah.
Without him, if it was Case Keenum the whole time, it'd be an 8-8, 8-9, or 8-9 or 9-8 football team. At max, that would be their peak. Josh Allen isn't the reason they lose. Even when he makes boneheaded plays.
Yeah.
I mean, he could be a part of it, but without Josh Allen, they don't have a chance.
Yeah.
So overall, I'm very concerned about them because their play calling is very obvious if players can pick up on it the way they do.
Yeah.
And Spagnuolo, great defensive coordinator. That Chiefs team they always play above their talent. You don't think they're gonna know? They're not gonna know? I know they're gonna know. So I need to see next week to see if they make any adjustments. If they don't, then they're gonna drop because it's scary.
Yeah, I mean, we can say that. I just think it's only scary, because they have to go against Kansas City, and I think other than Kansas City, I think the biggest threat to them will be Miami. I'm big on Miami because of basically because of what the argument I made. Big play receivers,
Yeah, I'm more
they're like we can, again. I'm gonna say it again. Anybody can say, yeah. Oh, anybody will have issues with big play wide receivers. But if you're that team, if you're that deep, if you are a Super Bowl contending team, you should be able to at least contain them. You know what I'm saying? And I get what you're saying with the Justin Jefferson thing, but that goes. I don't want to sound like a revolving door and whatnot, but it seems like a trend with them. It seems like a trend.
I think their biggest threat aside from Kansas City is the Titans. Titans defense is looking like top 2, top 3-ish, and their coaching staff is one of the best coaching staffs in the game. They always play above their talent.
Gotcha.
And that defense is looking good. If Tannehill can be that 15-ish quarterback, I think they're dark horse Super Bowl contenders.
Okay.
Because they can beat Kansas City. If you have a defense that good, you can beat Kansas City. I'm not saying they're going to, which is why they're a dark horse for me. But I think they'll beat the Ravens.
Okay.
They always beat the Ravens.
Forgot about the Ravens.
I haven't forgotten about them. They're definitely molding into... I don't want to talk too much about them right now, but they're molding into that elite football team that we knew they could. The defense is getting better, and the offense slowed down a little bit, but I think the defense is getting good enough.
Yeah.
Especially with Roquan in the middle. That's going to help them a lot.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Is there anything else you're thinking about?
There's nothing too much, there's 49ers and there's the Chargers. I think, obviously 49ers didn't look like the number 4 team, but I think a lot of that had to do with the Chargers. We should give more respect to the Chargers. I think they're a legit team. Legit as far as making it tough on you, making the playoffs and things of that nature. They're not an easy out.
Yeah.
They have one of the best quarterbacks and running backs in the league. They still have Khalil Mack, who made some plays last night. Yeah. He leads them. Good. Yeah, he's what, 8 sacks or something like that. They still have Derwin James.
Yeah,
right? They still have some. They have some gamers on there.
No, I agree. But what's concerning is Chargers are anemic in the run game. Their run defense is absolute trash.
Yeah,
I'd say it's probably one of the worst in the league. If there's ever a running back playing against the Chargers, they're my instant start in fantasy. They just get ran over consistently, which is why it's surprising for me that Christian McCaffrey. How many rushing yards did he have? He had under 50.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, you can look that up real quick, but that does concern me. You talk about trends, and I really hope this is
38.
Yeah, 38. I really hope this is just kind of a weird blip, but ever since Christian McCaffrey left the Panthers, they've averaged over 100 rushing yards a game when they were at 55 or 60. And it's not because of talent. It's what wide receivers do you have to worry about on the Panthers besides DJ Moore? It's Foreman's getting all these carries, and he's getting good yardage. He's had over 130 yards in 2 or 3 games. Is it a McCaffrey thing? I don't think it is, but he's not getting the yards I thought he would in the Shanahan offense. Is maybe teams just realize he's so injury prone they don't want to risk it. Because How many attempts did he have?
I think it's only like four. I can't remember. He had 14. Yeah, 14 attempts.
So 14 attempts for 38 yards. Mm-hmm. That's like 2 yards a carry.
Yeah, it's not much.
I mean, yeah, that's almost Kenneth Walker was at about 1.9 a carry, which is really bad too. But you look at Deontay Foreman being the only option they have, and he had 130 yards on 30 carries. That's about 4-something a carry.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not amazing, but it's like Christian McCaffrey should be able to do that and then some.
Yeah.
And I know in the passing game he had like 50-something yards, but I expect more out of him, especially being that big acquisition. I mean, he should be, him, Debo, and Kittle are the centerpieces.
Yeah.
Why is another running back on that team getting so many carries?
So are you saying you're real concerned with the 49ers overall?
If we're talking about an elite team or a good team, yeah, I'm concerned because I'm like, why is Elijah Mitchell getting more carries than Christian McCaffrey? Christian McCaffrey, 14 for 38, and then 4 receptions for 39. Elijah Mitchell had 18 carries for 89 yards. McCaffrey's supposed to be that dude. Why is Elijah Mitchell getting more yards than him per attempt? And I don't know if it's a trend. I'd have to look at the previous games. But, I mean, does that concern you? It concerns me.
No, I'm not concerned at all because this is a team that has proved that they can make a run for the Super Bowl. Not just like in the playoffs.
Sorry, I don't mean about the Vikings. I don't mean about the Niners. I mean more about McCaffrey.
Oh, McCaffrey. Oh, my bad. Yeah.
Because I'm concerned about him.
Mm-hmm. No, I'm not concerned. I got to see more than that one game where he was, not as explosive as we, expected him to be. But I mean, we got to remember 2 weeks ago, he looked. You can argue the best or the most versatile running back in the league just 2 weeks ago. I mean, the man had a rushing touchdown, he had a passing touchdown, and he had a receiving touchdown. Right? It did wonders for me in fantasy, by the way. But I personally don't think it's a real concern. I think we'll need more data, aside from like 2 or 3 weeks, right? For me to really, put up the antennas, right?
Yeah.
So I just have to see more.
I mean, 18 for 94. That's what, like about 5 a carry, maybe about 4.8. No, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. And then he did have 8 for 9 receptions for 55 yards. No, I guess I'm not concerned about him not being productive. I'm concerned is because it's like, why are the Panthers suddenly looking more dominant in the run game without him? And I just want him to be, in that elite category because that's what they traded the assets for. Is this dude? This dude's supposed to be the game changer, and I think the fact that I think they're a significantly better team than the Chargers. I know you're a little higher on the Chargers than I am.
I think they're a playoff team. I give more respect.
They're They're like borderline for me though. Yeah. It's like
they're a playoff team.
What's their record right now?
It seems
5-4. I mean, that's about where they should be.
Yeah.
I
can see him as a 10-7 team.
Yeah, 10-7.
Yeah, 10-7, which is respectful. Which is more than respectful. You're a playoff team. They're a tough out. Chargers are a tough out. Care what nobody say. You got one of the more talented quarterbacks in the league. I know he didn't put up crazy, do insanely, but I think they're a well-rounded, talented team. The Chargers, and they're going to make it tough on you. That has some bad team that's well-rounded that has bad luck.
I can't even say it's bad luck. I think the coach sucks. I'm just gonna say it.
I'm just talking about the whole aura of the.
The Chargers. If you want to talk about bad luck, it's like Chargers and Dallas are the worst, and I think the Chargers are worse than Dallas. But we've talked about that.
Yeah.
Their coach sucks. How is Justin Herbert? There's so many Justins that are good.
Yeah.
There's like Fields, there's Jefferson.
Fields,
So the other good Justin Herbert. Why is his pass per attempt so low? Why is he throwing 4-yard completions all over the field? I mean, I'm just going to look at what he did during San Francisco.
Mike Williams and Keenan Allen's not there.
But even when they are there, though, even when Mike Williams is there, you should know more than anybody. I don't have all the answers to that. 21 for 196.
Mm-hmm.
That's like
21 attempts?
21 completions for 196 yards.
Mm.
That's like 10 yards.
Yeah.
10.
So, I mean, what's around the league? Do we know the league average?
But,
so, I mean,
but like, he's not average.
Yeah.
He's good.
Yeah.
He's elite.
No, yeah, I got you.
He should be like Josh Allen.
Mm-hmm.
Having like 20 completions for 400 yards.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not saying it's typical.
And sorry to cut you off. Like I do see that because it wasn't last night? Yeah, last night, like the longest completion he's had for a touchdown was 32 yards or something like that.
What I'm
it was
saying.
Something like that. Yeah. Yeah, I hear you.
This dude could throw it. This dude could throw it 60 yards off his back foot.
Yeah, he's got a cannon. No pun intended. But go ahead.
I was like, Herbert, where does Cannon come in? No, I think they need to change their coach.
No.
Their whole fourth down, risk it, no biscuit, they're trying to imitate, and it's like called being aggressive. They're like, oh, we're just being aggressive. It's like, no, you're just being stupid. It's like when you have a fourth down and like 3,
mm-hmm.
and you're in the opponent's territory.
Mm-hmm.
Why are you going for it?
Yeah.
Why are you gonna I think in that Jaguars game, they went for it on a stupid fourth down. Oh, you just gave Jaguars all the momentum, and the Jaguars just steamrolled them.
Yeah.
That Jaguars game left the disgusting taste in my mouth. They left.
Yeah, I mean, I hear what you're saying. I hear what you're saying. Like, I mean, Chargers, they're like you said, they're Dallas. All the talent in the world. Have well-rounded, team, but like somehow, some way, they find a way to, mess it up, find a way to lose.
Yeah.
Right. That's who they are.
I don't think their team's well-rounded though. That's the thing.
Well, I mean, I'm just talking over the years. Like, but even this year, like, I mean, who do they have? They have
their defense has been a huge disappointment.
Yeah. I mean, it has.
It's like middle of the pack.
Yeah.
Like they have Khalil Mack, who I'm not gonna say he's a superstar. He's good.
Well, they have what's the name? Jones, the cornerback. How's he been doing?
He's hurt though.
He's hurt?
He's been hurt. It's
okay.
ending. No, not Jones. J.C. Jackson.
Oh, Jackson. I'm sorry. Yeah, Jackson.
No pun intended.
Yeah.
No.
So, okay.
J.C. Jackson's been hurt.
I know Bosa's been out. Yeah.
Oh, Bosa's their defense full guns blazing. They could be good, but even when they had that at the beginning of the year, they weren't dominant.
Yeah, you're killing me, Ken. I'm trying to defend the Charger fans. I'm trying here, man. I'm trying.
And what sucks is I like the chart. I like them.
Yeah.
It's like living in California. You see their games a lot.
Yeah.
I've always liked LaDainian Tomlinson. I like that Phillip Rivers, LaDainian Tomlinson, Vincent Jackson. I love those teams.
Yeah.
I do.
Mm-hmm.
But this team ain't it. And it's the coaching. Like, how is Mike Williams? Like, this dude was top 10 pick.
But here's the thing. Okay, where do you have San Francisco?
What do you mean?
Just rankings.
5.
So, and they probably should have won that game. They for the most part of that game, they outplayed them. So I personally feel wherever you feel where they are personnel wise, coaching wise, they still had a chance to win that game and probably should have. So I think you still need to give them more respect.
But meanwhile, they should have lost to Atlanta if the guy didn't fumble the fumble return.
Yeah.
Like they should have lost to Atlanta.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing. Run defense.
Mm-hmm.
10 carries, 99 yards
for
their second running back. 13 carries, 44 yards. That's better. But Cordell Patterson had 2 touchdowns.
Yeah.
And then I'm thinking of, next previous game.
Mm-hmm.
Who did they beat or who did they lose to?
Hey, we can say that all you want to. We had with Atlanta. I hear what you're saying. But at the same time, you also got to give them credit for what they did the other day.
They got trashed. They got trashed by Seattle. Oh, what happened? Kenneth Walker had 23 carries for 167 yards and 2 touchdowns.
And despite all that, they're 5-4. Still a respectable team.
And then
despite them having a not so good run defense, they still finding a way to have success. Regardless of how at the end of the day, getting wins in the NFL is hard. You know, there might have been that one fumble with Atlanta where he messed up, but at the end of the day, they were still in the position to win that game.
Yeah,
you know,
no,
regardless.
I agree.
So, and Atlanta's not completely terrible. Like they're respectful.
They're playing over their heads for sure.
Hey, you know, it's hard to win in the NFL. You know, so it's.
We thought this team was gonna be like Super Bowl contenders.
Mm-hmm.
Like, my point being is,
are they underachieving? Yes, but they're still respectful. But go ahead. Your point being, go ahead.
They're on the they're on the edge. They're on the edge of being respectable for me. Like, I know the Jaguar game, whatever you want to say, September, I don't care. Man, that Jaguar, like, they didn't just lose to the Jaguars.
Yeah, they got demolished.
They got steamrolled.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, like, and it's, you know, you could say it's the same story all you want. The run defense. But their run defense is so bad, it's losing them games consistently. Like, and granted, Kenneth Walker, he did exactly what I'm telling you, he did exactly what I expected him to. I was like, Kenneth Walker is going to go for at least 150 and 2 touchdowns. I was saying that. And it's obvious.
Yeah.
Because Kenneth Walker's that guy. But Tyler Algier, 10 carries for 99 yards. Granted, he's not bad.
Yeah.
But he's not a superstar.
Yeah.
Like, averaging 10 yards a carry when you're not a superstar, I mean, that shows.
Again, Chargers fans, I tried. You know, I tried.
So, let's see what happens when Mike Williams comes back. I think Keenan's he's old.
Yeah.
I think he's not done, but he's not a number 1.
Mm-hmm.
He's probably more of a 2 to a 3 at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Mike Williams is the one who needs to get his butt in gear, and he needs to start being that superstar.
Yeah.
Because they drafted him to take the mantle from Keenan Allen.
Mm-hmm.
But Mike Williams, he's so inconsistent.
Yeah.
That's the Chargers. Inconsistent.
Yeah.
They're so inconsistent. Even Justin Fields, like, oh, look at that. He has 40 passes for 200 yards. Why is this dude throwing 4-yard dink and dunks? He's not Teddy Bridgewater.
Yeah.
He's not
I hear you.
a game manager.
Yeah.
I guess I'll say, last thing I'll say before we should probably end it.
Mm-hmm.
And then, well, I'll give you your piece too, but they're treating Justin Jefferson like he's Justin Jefferson.
Yeah.
Justin,
Herbert.
I was gonna say Fields.
Herbert.
Justin Herbert. They're making Justin Herbert into a game manager.
Yeah.
Stop it.
Yeah.
Fire the coach. Get somebody who knows what they're doing. Mm-hmm. I know you don't like to advocate for people losing their jobs, but I love Justin Jefferson. Herbert. Well, I love both.
You did it again, dude.
Well,
Justin Herbert, dude. Herbert.
Herbert.
Yeah. Not then you're gonna be calling Justin Jefferson.
No, I would never do that with Justin Jefferson. He's one of a kind.
Yeah.
I've been saying it. Justin Herbert. Got it.
Yeah, got
it.
Yeah.
Third or fourth best quarterback in the NFL. But he's not playing like it right now. If the Chargers play to their full potential, they should be like 6-3 right now, 7-2. But for some reason they can't. And here's another thing we don't talk about. Why do the Chargers get hurt more than other teams? When it happens every year, it's not a coincidence. They need to overhaul their training program.
No, that's a good point.
I mean,
really good point.
Keenan Allen, Austin Eckler, Mike Williams. Their defensive players, Bosa.
Yeah, Derwin James. He had a history. He's been in there not recently, but he's had a history.
They need to rehaul that entire organization because the way their players get hurt is not a coincidence.
Yeah.
It's like the Pelicans from a couple of years ago.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, you know, I really don't disagree per se with what you're saying. Yes, Justin Herbert is not a game manager. This dude is extremely talented. You know, he has the talent where people can like consider him like around top 2, top 3 quarterback in the league. Like he's that type. Yeah. He's that great as a talent. And you obviously as a coach, you want to make sure you unleash him. You know, but despite all of that, they're still 5-4, despite their injuries, despite possible bad coaching in certain situations or throughout the game. They are still 5-4, and that's why I say I don't want to just straight count them out I think they're still a respectable team regardless. And I think they proved that yesterday, despite them losing, right? Because they beat who I think is a Super Bowl contender once they get...
They lost, but you said they beat them, right?
What I meant was
they almost
beat them. Yeah, if I missed, I can't.
Should have beaten them.
They probably should have beaten them. Shouldn't have beaten a team who's in my Super Bowl bubble, basically, right? So I think that speaks volumes. That says a lot. Are they living up to anywhere close to their full potential? Maybe not, but I still think, and that's why I knew coming into this game that would be a tough game. That's why I felt it would be a tough game, because I do respect the Chargers and their ability to beat anybody, just about anybody, any Sunday, just about. But yeah, I mean, they could be a wild card. They'll probably be a wild card. Maybe not. And
I can't see it because
maybe not.
Are they going to beat out the Jets?
I mean, yeah, that's a good point.
Are they going to beat? I mean, what other teams are?
Yeah.
Titans.
Titans. Bengals. Yeah, I hear you.
If they're gonna make it, they're gonna make it as the the last possible seed.
Yeah. Okay, I hear you. Yeah. I hear you. But they're still a respectable team. That's all I'm saying, man. That's all I'm saying. They're respectable. Yeah. You shouldn't overlook them. You should not you shouldn't overlook anybody. But they're a team who's going to be a tough out. Basically,
you could say they're in the middle. I'll agree that they're in the middle. They're not the lower end.
Yeah,
they're kind of in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah. So I think we had a good, productive conversations. Mm-hmm. We got to talk a lot about stars.
Yeah,
we got to talk a lot about what we think about some of these other players, what we think about some of these other teams, teams rising. Prove me a little wrong. I'm happy when I'm proven wrong because.
Just makes it all more interesting.
It makes it interesting because if I knew everything, would it really be fun?
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, people go, oh yeah, Cannon's an idiot. Look, he thought the Vikings weren't that good. I was like, well, I was wrong.
Yeah.
I was wrong. And it's okay.
Yeah.
But I'll be right just as much as I'm wrong.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
For sure.
Well, it was good talking with you guys. I'm Cannon.
I'm Jackson.
And we'll talk to you soon.
All right.